Morning, everybody. Day 33, I believe. So, good stuff. A long time meditating consistently. We're going to continue with this concept. I hope the phrase was catchy enough. Supernature. Simply said, the idea is that nature has wired you to be the very best that you can be. It has also wired you to be the worst you can possibly be. And when we are interacting with ourselves in practice, I believe through my own experience and through, a study of the philosophies and the mythologies, which are really just explanations of the human psyche, that what we are really dealing with is the limitations of how we interpret our reality, the limitations in how we interpret the world. That we function from bias and in general negativity bias. I always find it interesting, the biography or the opening up of the lives and stories of gurus and of people that claim to be or express themselves as hyper positive. What's coming to mind right now is someone like Robin Williams or even Anthony Bourdain, and that inside of their, seemingly perfect situation and jovial disposition, there is a world of extraordinary sorrow. And these two examples are extreme examples, but I have the faith that all of us, everyone in this Zoom session, has, vast territories of sorrow and insecurity inside them. Me as well. And we may be unconscious to them. But when we sit and are asked or ask ourselves to be fully positive and embracing of a reality that we know rationally is beautiful, right? And this is the simple advice of Thich Nhat Hanh. Remember, the sky is beautiful. See the smiling children. See the beauty of the green in the grass. Feel the glory of the wind. While we can sort of understand that and tiptoe into that embrace, we find that it's difficult to do that for any length of time, right? And so the experience of just being here and sitting with ourselves proves to be very, very, very hard. And that's interesting. More than sorrowful, more than challenging, let it be interesting. And so what I found is supernature. It is not us that is sort of, choosing negativity. It's not us that's choosing judgment. It's nature. And nature has reasons that are beyond us that compel us to look at the world through a negative lens. And that general reason is survival. But we operate in a different reality because of the genius and intellect of our species. And now, in the opportunity of this modern world, we can question that. There are no tigers at our back. Despite the current situation with COVID in general, there are the storms of disease are a lot less than what they used to be. Back in the day, people would die of the common cold. They would die of chickenpox, brutal deaths. So despite the situation, things are on the up and up, and we have an opportunity now to question a mental tendency that really doesn't serve us as much as it used to anymore. And so what I want to talk about supernature is just this concept of, our position within ourselves, and how if we pin our negativity and our judgment on nature, it is not the bypassing of responsibility. That I feel when we meditate, we experience a lot of subconscious shame. The teacher, the lesson is saying to embrace the moment, to be positive, to accept judgmental thoughts. And here I am judging it all. And I might think, or my mind might think, oh, I am failing at this. Oh, I am so negative. Why can't I embrace this moment? Why can't I be open to my reality and myself? Why, oh, why? To say that it's nature might be perceived as a deflection of responsibility. And in that, a bypassing of our own responsibility in this game. But it's not necessarily the case. We are experientially a part of nature, but we are also separate from nature. And so this is the concept that I'm trying to get to. We are both nature itself and distinct from what we define as nature. And that subjective experience of being distinct, right? I observe the entirety of reality play out before me. I observe even the ecosystem, if you will, of my mind play out before me. If I take the time to meditate deeply, my mind becomes an external environment. And in this, the human being can recognize itself to be or to stand apart from the entirety of the world, to stand separate from nature itself. This is the origin of the soul. And while mindfulness doesn't overtly speak of the soul, they speak of witness consciousness. They speak of the observer. They just don't use the languaging of soul because of the baggage that soul and spirit and religion comes with. But it's this experience of a subjective superposition, right? And so this is a term in quantum physics that says an object can be A and B at the same time, essentially, that the world is really a manifestation of probabilities, not certainties, that this superposition of I am a part of nature, I'm completely an aspect, embedded in it, no different than a drop of water in the ocean, but I am also distinct from it at the same time. This is what we're trying to play with. And as we sit here and meditate against nature, what it will force us to do is recognize the probability of this superposition, which I'm just calling supernature. Because now I am intending a higher order choice to embrace, to move beyond a negativity bias into an instinct. Cool? Hope that makes sense, right? So the big concept is you are part of nature. And certainly from one state of mind, it is you. It is you judging the moment. It is you and your negativity bias. It is you scratching and itching and being impatient. And you have to be mindful of that. But at the same time, the other side of the coin is, it is also not you. You are wired to be this way. And the mind is not necessarily you. And if you can feel that witnessing and really embed yourself in that observing, it will be more and more clear to you that it is just nature playing its games, playing through its conditionings. And from there, from that really powerful position outside of nature, which is real as an experience, you can intend something new. Awesome. And so what that new intention is going to be for right now is very simple again. Straighten your spine. That's all. And why? Because nature, in its negativity, assumes that we aren't going to have food tomorrow. So we're going to slump because we want to conserve energy, because food isn't promised tomorrow. Or nature in its negativity assumes that there is a more powerful member of our tribe around, and because life is competitive, if I stand upright and stare dead in the eyes of everything I see, that's going to be perceived as a threat. And so if I hold myself with all of this confidence, I might be calling in challenges that, again, I don't have the energy to deal with. And so I'm going to slump and stay meek and stay humble, because that's an easier path to follow that assures my survival versus challenging everything that comes my way because I feel so confident and have so much bravado. And so that's why we are compelled to slump. And so that's interesting to know. Your choice to sit up tall, you can feel the struggle of that. Again, supernature. You are competing against an instinct that no longer serves. Alrighty, here we go. So let's see this. Let's leverage this idea of superposition, quantum physics stuff, which is just a metaphor of how we interact with ourselves and our psyche. And again, the main concept is we are competing against nature. Alrighty, so a powerful seated position. Very tall spine, and immediately you're going to feel that confidence. But underneath that, there will be thoughts. Wow, this does take a lot of energy. I don't know how long I can sit up like this. And even deeper than that, in the basement of the mind, It's just about conserving energy because the mind still fears tomorrow. But mindfulness is about now. There is no tomorrow from the deep present. And so what you want to focus on is the sense of control, the sense of power, the sense of confidence that is coming directly from the length of your spine, and the confidence of your posture. And so observe this duality within you. You want to sit up tall. It feels good. It releases testosterone. It reminds you of your power. But there is also hesitation, and there is also doubt. And more than likely, there's a part of you that doesn't. And so strangely, you are both for and against this game. Because you are occupying both teams. The part of you that is nature wants you to conserve energy. The part of you that is above nature wants you to project unnatural confidence. Feel that. Until you make the choice, you are both. And so instead of playing the game of mindfulness, for the next few days, we are playing a game of competition against nature. And this feigned competition will help us enter flow. Because competition enables flow state. That's the experiment. So every breath that you breathe with a tall spine, every breath that you can feel the confidence coming from your body, I want you to feel that you are overcoming nature. That in this moment of choosing, you are more powerful than nature itself. Slow down the breath. This isn't about presence right now. This isn't about non-judgment right now. This is about understanding there are two choices: your instinct to slump and a higher choice to sit tall. It is a game. But more importantly, this is about feeling that nature is what you are working against, what you are trying to overcome, and nature is right on your heels. And so every breath you must be present. Every breath you must be connected to the now if you want to stay ahead and consistently make this conscious choice. It's because of this competition that all of a sudden the world disappears. You are using this game to instill deeper states of flow. Because we are wired to focus when in competition. The idea of competing against ourselves is too complex, too emotional. So we pin it on instinct. We pin it on nature. And then all of a sudden you are empowered. You are absorbed. Slow down the breath and now study the consequence. Feel within yourself an increased sense of agency, an increased sense of autonomy, that you stand apart, in control of yourself, and organized. If you feel this, this is purely the effect of norepinephrine and dopamine. You have found the tap. And now feel your body. If there is a sense of euphoria, a balance between wakefulness, alertness, but also relaxation and calmness. This is the effect of endorphins and anandamide. And now, most enchanting of all, listen to your moment. Listen to your competitor. Listen to nature. Recognize the mind you are trying to overcome, the judgment you are trying to overcome. If there's a stronger sense of connection, this is because you have released oxytocin and serotonin. So the thought experiment of competition leads us to collaboration. The thought of competing against lesser instincts turns on our mind in a way that supports performance, lateral thinking, creativity, and higher understanding. And so in your final breaths, as you are present, simultaneously appreciate you are nature, but at the same time, stand apart from nature. That you are distracted, but at the same time present. That you are here and elsewhere. And it is the open awareness of all of this that defines mindfulness. With a breath in, open your eyes. Awesome. Good work. Hope that made sense. It is the riddle of Zen, the riddle of the Tao, the riddle of yoga. We express a goal to be present, but there is inevitable reality that we are always non-present as well as present. There's this superpositioning. And when we can embrace that our distraction and our disjointedness from now is a part of the now, that our judgment is a part of the thing we're supposed to embrace, we find that the now is so accessible. We just had to sort of take this step back. The value of creating this thought experiment of competition is we're just leveraging nature. We're leveraging an instinct. When competition arises as animals that have fought for survival, as all animals do for millennia, we are wired to activate, wired to perform. And that performance is physiologically a release of very, very important chemicals, which I just listed. And so the more willing you are to play this game and actually feel that, yes, I am competing against nature. I am competing against myself, but nature is a little bit easier of a target. That's going to promote the release of these chemicals. It's going to promote your brain to think in a different way. And in that, you will more than likely understand mindfulness and the secret of meditation more easily, because when the mind is activated through flow, it literally activates different circuits. It's literally dripping with very, very different chemical cocktails. And this has been measured to support lateral thinking, creative thinking, where we usually think myopically and in the same patterns and grooves that we always think. So when a teacher tries to articulate something that's beyond our field of understanding, we have to change our minds. I think Albert Einstein had a quote about this. The mind that recognizes a problem is not the mind that can create the solution. The mind that finds the solution has to be in a different place. Albert Einstein was famous for thought experiments. Most quantum physicists, because of the abstract nature of their field, are famous for thought experiments, and they're useful. And so think about this. You are working against nature. It is not the disavowing of responsibility, right? If you're an asshole in a moment, you're like, oh, it's not my nature, or it's not me, it's nature, like, not my problem. That's not what's going on. It is this nature, this lesser nature is not me. So let me choose a higher order. Let me choose a better response. Cool. So yeah, you all have a beautiful one. Enjoy yourselves. Super nature. Just play with posture all day. People will respond to you differently the second you lift your chest up. So leverage and play with those natural instincts. All right. See you tomorrow. Good work, everyone.